So this is hopefully the last bit in the digital sticky notes app, and what we have so far is all of these files where we have created login, sign up, and sticky notes, and we have created the forms, the app.py, all of this, right? And if I just try to run this app for now just to see what comes up, then let's go and check how it looks like. Of course, without styling it will look like that, and I will use a previous login that I had just signed up with, just to check how things are. Maybe the password, I chose a different one. So this is how it looks like. It shows a welcome note, it shows a log out, which should log me out, and then I have a place to just type something, choose the color, and add. Of course, this doesn't work because I haven't really done any styling, or doesn't I haven't really properly set up the root so that it's basically showing the sticky notes out here. So we'll now work on that aspect now. All right. Now, yeah, log out just takes me out of this, and this is how it works for now. Okay. What I'm going to now do is basically what I want now is that when I actually choose a particular color and I add new, the sticky note should be added. But that will not happen unless and until I actually set up some kind of styling, like the width and height of the note, the color of the note, and things like that. So of course I will have to do it through the CSS file. So I have actually in Flask, what you do, you just create another new folder called static, okay, in the main project folder, and you make another new file called style.css, which will have your styling, right? And this style.css right now, as you can see, it's blank, and I will set up the styling here, and then this style.css will be linked to the sticky.html file, the page that you just now saw right now. Okay, so let me just quickly link the file here. So it's going to be style sheet, and href is going to be style, no, not style.css, actually it should be static, because that's the name of the folder, and inside the static there is style.css, which it will be linking it to. Okay, so just save it, and then if we go to style.css, over here I'll be doing some styling for it. Okay, so first of all, I will have in my sticky notes a note container. Like, this is the place which will have all the sticky notes. Okay, and I am going to set the display as flex over here, because I want flex is a kind of a display in CSS which organizes your things in the form of rows and columns. So you want the same kind of thing in your sticky notes also. You want them to be aligned and organized in rows and columns. So display would be flex. I want the flex wrap, okay, to be wrap, which means if I keep adding more notes, they should just wrap to the next row. Okay, and they should not really be in the same row. I want to justify the content to be, let's say, flex start. So when the row starts, I want them to be aligned, like the content should be aligned right from the left side, the flex, the start of it. Okay, maximum width of this container could be something like 1600 pixel, which is like the entire screen, right? Margin between the notes would be 0 auto, basically, which means like no margin, but then it should be automatic. Okay, you can in fact set something like 10 pixel, 5 pixel if you want, but auto basically does that. Okay, padding, which means that the text and the notes the note box outside the border, it needs to have a padding of 20 pixel. Okay, box sizing is another property in CSS, which just you can set it to be a border box, like it needs to have a border and a margin. Okay, I think that's about your note container. Okay, now the note, or the actual sticky note, how will it, this was the main container, and that little box, the notes basically are going to, let's say, have a width of 200 pixel and a height of 100 pixel. I'm actually choosing the same styling that I had done initially when I had done the project, so I'm just using the same. So border could be from the 4 sides, like top, bottom, right, and left, could be some different I actually don't remember exactly what it was earlier, but you can choose accordingly. Okay, so top, bottom, right and left, these could be the margins. If they don't fit well in your project, please go ahead and change them. Okay, padding could be 5 pixel, which is the padding between the text and the border. Overflow auto, because maybe there are people who are writing long lines of text and we want them to like write more, and then this overflow is basically going to create a scroll bar in your each note, and it will have more and more amount of text if there is somebody who's writing a lot. Okay, box sizing for this also, we want it to be like a border box. Okay, and maybe I can set the font size to be 15 pixel or don't know 12 pixel or something like that. Okay, so this is for that each box of red, green or yellow, whatever color, and this is for the main container which will have all the sticky notes. Okay, now I also want to set something like this. So if it's a red colored kind of a box, like if they choose to be red, then in that case I want the background color of this note to be red. It could be any other shade of red also, you can change it from here to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, the color of the text on it could be black, white, any other text that you feel. Okay, and the same thing you can do for the other 3 colors that you have in your sticky notes. If you have different colors, you can choose it accordingly. So for yellow, it's going to be the yellow sticky note. Okay, could be any other color of yellow as well, whatever you like. Okay, and one more time, the third one that I have is green. Okay, and I can choose green here. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so I think that's about my style sheet. I have the main note container, I have a sticky note, and I have red, yellow and green also, in case they, of course, they choose these colors. And how will we apply them in sticky.html? That is something that we have to look at it now. Okay, so let's go to sticky.html. We have a form action for login, which takes them to this page and says welcome tom@gmail.com. We have a URL for add sticky, which basically does a post, and it also asks them for a note color, an option, and all of this. It does that. Okay, so this part is for the add sticky, right? Now what we have to do, like when we actually click on add new, then what should happen is like the sticky notes should be added and should show up, right? So this will work only when we actually start showing up the notes out here. Okay, so I am actually going to then define over here, let me just work on the indentation. So that's my form and div. Yeah, this is okay, this is correct. Now I want another div for the notes. Okay, so I styled it as note container, okay, in my CSS. So that's my note container. Now I want all the notes to be styled, or I want all the notes to be added in the note container. So for that I will have to run a for loop on these notes, because I do not know how many notes are there going to be. So for note in notes, okay, here like that. Okay, so for note in notes, okay, what is the color of the note that you want? Okay, the color of the note will come from the color which is stored in your database. Okay, if you remember very clearly, when we had chosen red, yellow and green, and when we had inserted the notes into our database, I'll show you app.py, then we had also inserted the color of the notes, which is, it must be in the add sticky here. If you see, insert into sticky what? The email ID of the person, the text of the note, and the note color. Okay, so note color has gone into the third column, or maybe I think the fourth column of the sticky notes, because the first column in sticky notes is an auto number, which is an ID, which is here. See, so first thing is note ID, email is the second field, note text and note color. Okay, so this is the note color which needs to take from here. Okay, so this is stored in the database. All we have to do is just use these values and apply it. Okay, so for note in notes, okay, the class that the note will belong to will be the color. Okay, so that is basically what it is, note. Okay, and inside the note it's note 3, okay, because fourth column in the sticky notes table is color. So note 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Third is the color, okay, as I just showed you. Okay, so I want this note to be displayed. Okay, what else do I want to display? I also want that along with the sticky note there should also be a delete button on it. Okay, so I'm also going to say that I want a delete button. ID could be delete, and you can style it, you know, basically how you want the button to look like here, and then close the button here. Okay, and I guess I can close the div here. It's okay. So for delete button, and also I want one more thing which I totally forgot. I want the text which is stored on the you know, the sticky note. Okay, so maybe after 2 breaks, or maybe 1 break is more than enough, I want the note 2. Okay, note 2 is basically the third column of your sticky notes table which has the text. Okay, so the class with which will this note text will belong to, which will be whatever is stored in the fourth column, whatever they stored, yellow, red, green, and that styling will happen from here. So if it's third column, the red is stored in it, it will apply that styling, and then text is basically in note 2, it is stored there and it will just show up. Okay, so I think I'm now ready to close the div, and I can easily just close the for. Okay, if you remember in Flask we have to explicitly just close the end, like for loops and while loops and stuff like that. Okay, so I guess n4 is there, and div, have I closed the div? No, not yet. So I think I can just close the div here, which was for node container. I can close the body tag, and I can close the HTML also here. Okay, so this should ideally give you the notes. Okay, we can test it out right now. I'll just save this, and if there are any errors then they will show up now. So I will run this. Okay, and I go to my live server here. Okay, I'll try and sign up with the same ID which I used earlier. I hope the password is correct. Okay, so I think things are happening, but what's not really working, I mean, I can see all the notes that I had stored earlier, and I can see the delete buttons also added, but for some reason I don't see the color or the note container, which means that I think my page is not really able to interact with the style.css. Let's see what's wrong there. Style.css looks fine, and did I save it? Let me save this, and let me go to sticky.html and see if I have linked it to link rel style. There is a spelling mistake error here. Style sheet href is static style.css. I hope I've called it style. Okay, this looks okay to me first, but I don't know why this is not really working. Let me see, let me go, and okay, fine, so this is working. I think there was a spelling error, but of course I will have to, as I told you in styling, I have to work on my margins and stuff, which you can work yourself. You can change the margins. I don't remember what I used last time, but could be 10 pixel or something that I have to set. But let's see if I just add something. This is a new test note, and let me choose, let's say, the green category and add new. So it adds a new test note. Okay, the delete buttons of course are not going to work right now because we have not yet done anything with the delete sticky root. Okay, which will work now. So things are working for now. The only last thing that's left for this project is to make sure that when I delete this note, it gets deleted. Okay, for that we will just wait for the next video, and then we can work on that last thing.